Have you ever noticed someone who treats social media like a one-way mirror? They can see everything, but nobody sees them. No selfies. No birthday posts. No, look at my dinner, moments. It's almost as if they've mastered the art of being present without being exposed. And here's the twist, psychologists say their silence is never random. It's a message. A very powerful one. Because when someone refuses to put their life on display in a world obsessed with attention, something deeper is happening beneath the surface. Let's unpack the psychology behind people who never post their photos online. And by the end of this video, you'll realize something shocking. The people who appear the quietest online are often the loudest internally. 1. They prioritize control over their personal universe. People who rarely upload photos often have a high privacy threshold. They care about how much of their identity leaks into the digital world. While others casually throw their personal moments into the algorithm, these individuals hold back. Not because they're scared, but because they understand something most people don't. Once you post a picture, you no longer control it. Psychologists call this boundary consciousness, being intensely aware of what belongs to you mentally, emotionally, and socially. They don't need an audience to validate their existence. They don't need likes to feel alive. Their self-worth isn't uploaded, it's internal. And that's the first major sign of someone who has a stable inner world. 2. Their sense of identity is already complete. Researchers studying self-concept clarity found something fascinating. People who post less tend to have a more solid understanding of who they are. They don't need the internet to confirm their personality. They don't check comments to see if people approve of their looks. They don't upload highlights to prove their life is meaningful. Their identity is not crowdsourced. It's self-built. While others use social media to figure themselves out, these people already know. They move with a quiet certainty that comes from self-awareness, not online attention. 3. Their confidence is rooted, not performed. There's a difference between looking confident and actually being confident. Most people online chase applause to fill the silent spaces inside themselves. But those who avoid posting photos? Psychologists say they often carry secure self-esteem. Not loud confidence. Not flashy confidence. But the kind that doesn't need an audience at all. They don't need external eyes to feel relevant. They don't require digital validation to feel significant. Their confidence lives in their actions, not in their uploads. This kind of emotional security makes them less anxious, less approval-seeking, and far more grounded in real life. 4. They think deeply, and they express selectively. Here's something most people don't realize. People who stay quiet online often have internal criteria for what deserves attention. They aren't posting for everyone. They're posting for themselves, if they post at all. This psychological trait is called an internal locus of evaluation. They measure their worth by their own standards. They're the types who will delete a picture, not because nobody liked it, but because they decided it didn't reflect them. They move with intention. They speak when they have something to say. They post when something actually matters. They aren't show-offs. They're thinkers. And their silence is not emptiness. It's discipline. 5. They understand the psychological trap behind social media. Most people fall into the comparison loop without even noticing. Scrolling. Comparing. Feeling smaller. Posting. Waiting. Checking again. Feeling not enough. But people who rarely show their faces online. They see the game for what it is. Psychologists call it the comparison spiral, the mental trap where you pit your entire life against someone else's highlight moments. They avoid this trap entirely. By not participating. They choose peace over validation. Clarity over competition. Mental health over visibility. They know that social media is designed to magnify insecurities, not solve them. 6. They live more than they perform. Some people live their lives like a movie, every moment becomes content. But low posters think differently. They treat their life as something to be experienced, not broadcast. They don't need to record their joy to feel it. They don't rush to upload their achievements, they celebrate privately. They find meaning in the moment itself, not the reaction it gets. And that makes them incredibly rare in a world where everything is performance-based. 7. Their silence makes them unpredictable. Here's the part nobody talks about. People who don't post often are harder to judge. You can't track their life. You can't predict their moods. You can't decode their personality from curated photos. They're a mystery in a world that overshares. And mystery is power. Because humans naturally chase what they don't understand. Silence becomes presence. Privacy becomes intrigue. And invisibility becomes influence. They don't have to be loud to be felt. 8. They know being unseen is sometimes safer. Not everyone wants strangers analyzing them. In a world where photos become memes, screenshots become weapons, and opinions spread like wildfire, some people choose to protect themselves by staying unseen. This isn't fear, it's strategy. A psychological shield. They understand that your image is your identity, and not everyone deserves access to it. 9. They value real-world connection over digital interaction. People who rarely post usually invest their energy in real conversations, real relationships, and real experiences. Their closest friends know them well. But the internet? The internet only knows the surface, because that's all they allow. They live fully offline, while others only exist online. 10. They don't need to be visible to matter. This is the core truth. People who don't post their photos are not invisible. They're selective. Intentional. Grounded. They don't need an audience to feel valuable. They don't need applause to feel confident. They don't need attention to feel alive. Their entire strength comes from within, not from likes, views, or comments. And that kind of confidence. That's rare. That's powerful. That's real. If decoding human behavior fascinates you, hit subscribe. Because on this channel, we don't just watch how people act. We explore why their minds work the way they do. And the biggest secret about social media silence? It always says more than a picture ever could.